Uncle Mike be trying to do way too many things at one time. But you know what? That's my style, baby. Check it out. I ain't put it on yet, but my Jaguar Wright t-shirt came. Yeah, shout out to Jaguar Wright. I ordered 2 of them, baby. That's my girl. She cool. Jaguar Wright. No matter what, I'm rolling with you. I just hope I don't make a mistake. It piss you off. I don't want to piss Jaguar Wright off, period. Hey, before we get started, man, I want to do this little short real quick, man. Bring this short to y'all. I thought this was like interesting. Let me hit the refresh so I can start from the beginning. Y'all hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell, baby. Check this out.
What was the greatest advice you have received in your life that has stuck with you throughout your career?
Probably from my mom, is to follow your dreams. And from my pops, can't stop, won't stop.
Yeah, can't stop, won't stop. I like that. All right.
I like that.
I actually like the message of that because, you know, you got to keep on going forward no matter what anyone says.
You know what's up. Oh, hold on. This is my new song right here, too. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hold on.
Hey! Look at Mr. Diddy.
Look at Mr. Diddy.
You ready?
Yeah.
Look at Mr. Diddy.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. Hey, Mr. Diddy, how you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great out here. DJ Khaled, we the best golf tournament. You're so famous. I had to pull up on you and say that you're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. What was the greatest advice you have ever received in your career and in your life that stuck with you?
Keep God first.
God first. I like that.
Yeah, I
So
like
to
that.
keep that first.
I
All
like
right,
that.
thank you.
Love, love, love.
Appreciate it, Mr. Diddy.
Love, give me some love. God, I see you. I'm proud of you. Keep doing
Thank
your
you,
thing.
Mr. Diddy. What was the greatest advice?
Now, I wish to God that this person was the person that's he claimed to be. Because this is the image that we all seen of him. This is the man that we thought this is how he lived his life. The little girl is doing an excellent job. She wants to be a reporter, obviously. She over there reporting on the son, who haven't impressed me at all. He haven't, you know, but that only thing I'm saying is I don't see any talent there. You know, I see the little girl working on her talent. Diddy, again, I don't see any talent there. So it makes me think that, getting big in this music industry is very easy. And I had a lot of talent, man, and it took me a long time to get to where I'm at. So anyway,
buckle up, folks.
Anyway, check this out, man. Kid Cudi explosive testimony destroys Diddy in court. Dog didn't recover. 9-day shocker. The dog didn't even recover. What? Now, Diddy messing with dogs? I don't know. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that bell. We're at Miss King's channel. Go check it out. Oh, also, just to let y'all know, we always leave a description. I mean, in our description, we leave a link to the original video. You know, and we call ourselves, I don't know, helping out other channels. She don't definitely need no help from us, but we do reaction videos, man. We react to other people's videos and stuff, and keep our people up on what we think is important news on this Diddy case and everything, man. So y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. Let's check this bad boy.
Because day 9 of buckle up, folks. Because day 9 of the U.S. versus Sean Diddy Combs trial just detonated a bombshell that's setting the internet ablaze and shaking the music world to its core. We are diving deep into the Manhattan federal courtroom where the prosecution unleashed a relentless assault on Diddy's empire with 2 powerhouse witnesses, Scott Kid Cudi Muscudi, spilling every detail about that firebombed Porsche, a home invasion, and his dog's trauma. Yes. And then there was George Kaplan, Diddy's former assistant, exposing a sinister world of drugs, violence, and cover-ups. This isn't just a trial. It's a reckoning for a mogul who allegedly thought he was above the law. From a terrified dog to the Molotov cocktail, why are these testimonies tearing Diddy apart. Well, we're going to find out exactly why. Guys, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, because you are not going to want to miss any of my upcoming details about what is happening in this trial. But now we've got to get into this testimony. Let's unravel the electrifying chaos of day 9, because today, May 22nd, in the Manhattan federal courtroom, it was a masterclass in exposing Diddy and his alleged dark empire. The prosecution called 2 key witnesses, George Kaplan, who is Diddy's former executive assistant, and like I said, Kid Cudi, whose testimonies painted a vivid and chilling picture of violence, intimidation, and a poor dog caught in the crossfire. I think that's the part that really got to me the most. The day began with Kaplan resuming his testimony from yesterday. Now, he is under immunity that was granted by the judge. He detailed his role as Diddy's fixer, an eyewitness, and he was an eyewitness to his abusive behavior. Kaplan's account set the stage for Kid Cudi, who took the stand mid-morning, delivering a nearly 2-hour testimony that gripped the courtroom, from tales of a 2011 home invasion, a 2012 car firebombing, and a deeply personal violation involving his French bulldog, Luna. The prosecution, they moved swiftly, also calling makeup artist Myla Morales and hotel manager Frederick Zemmour later on in the day. But Kaplan and Cudi, they stole the whole show. This was no ordinary day. It was a calculated strike against Diddy's legacy, with every detail meticulously laid bare. Let's dive into every single thing that each witness said in order, straight from the courtroom reporters. George Kaplan is a 34-year-old former assistant from Wayland, Massachusetts. Now, he got on the stand, I think around 9:15 this morning, and he continued, like I said, his testimony from yesterday. And what got a lot of people talking was that he either was going to get an immunity deal or he was going to plead the 5th. So the judge had to grant that before he gave his testimony yesterday. And they actually did it in between another witness's break, where he came in, he said he was going to plead the 5th, but then the prosecutor said we had worked out a deal to give him immunity for any alleged crimes that he may have taken part of, and that they were going to go ahead and they already wrapped that up with his attorney and all of that. So the judge agreed. So now that is the only reason he's testifying. Otherwise, he would have got up there and just said, I plead the 5th to everything. Kaplan, who worked for Combs Enterprises from 2014 to 2015, described a high pressure job that started around 9:30 a.m. and often stretched to 7 a.m. the next day, logging in 80 to 100 hours a week for $125,000 a year. Now, his duties included setting up Diddy's bathroom with toiletries, medications, coordinating chefs and housekeepers. And he also had to do a lot of traveling, like from New York, Miami, Atlanta, DC, and even Orlando. Now, either this would be commercial flights or it would be Diddy's private jet. Okay. So, and he would also have to prepare all of the lodgings. Kaplan testified that he booked hotel rooms under the pseudonym Frank Black, stocking them with clothes, a speaker, candles, liquor, baby oil, Astroglide, and sometimes Viagra and condoms, often using his corporate credit card. Yes, he cleaned, and he also, when he used the corporate credit card, they would not be expensed. So he would use the credit card, but we don't know what went into the ledger at Diddy's enterprise, I guess Combs Enterprises. Now, I'm going to tell you guys in a little bit how this ties together the prosecution's RICO case and how they are able to go after Diddy's entire empire, all of his businesses and his assets. Kaplan often had to clean up after Diddy's stays and having freak-offs. He had to remove empty bottles of liquor, baby oil, all of these different items. And you remember, the rooms were left with blood, urine, baby oil all on the floor, the walls. Like, there was a lot of damage to these rooms. And normally you would have, there's people who clean up the hotel rooms, but he said that he would have to go in and clear out any paraphernalia of drugs or all of the liquor, all of the baby oil, the things that were really, really gross and could possibly paint a bad light on Diddy. Keep in mind, one of his jobs was to protect Diddy's image. So when he went in, it wasn't to make sure the room was completely clean, but it was just anything that can link Diddy to something nefarious, I would say, because he said that one of the things that he was taught and he was told was that hotel staff when they have a high profile person like Diddy stay there, they will try to sell pictures of the hotel room or sell different items, I don't know, on the internet or speak to the press about what they had found there. So it was important for him to keep this glossy, music mogul, family man image to the public and not let anyone that worked at the hotel or anyone else who could come in there to have any type of blackmail on him, which is kind of ironic because one of the key marks of Diddy was keeping blackmail of everybody else. Now, Kaplan's testimony turned darker when he detailed Diddy's drug use. He recounted 2 specific instances of picking up drugs for Diddy, once in Miami and once in Los Angeles, where Diddy provided him cash, gave him cash, and then a contact number. And then in Miami, he was supposed to just meet the person. Now, at the time, he says that he didn't know what this was for, but then he will be handed a bag of drugs. It was not until then that he knew that Diddy had sent him out to essentially buy drugs from his dealer. He also mentioned that he had to deliver food, clothes, Advil, ketamine, all types of things to Diddy's hotel rooms on demand, often at odd hours in the middle of the night. Now, Kaplan carried significant cash, once holding $50,000 on a private jet in 2015 at the request of Diddy's security, and picking up $10,000 from Western Union multiple times for Diddy's enterprises. Now, the most harrowing part of Kaplan's testimony centered on Diddy's violence. He described a 2015 incident on a private jet to Las Vegas where he witnessed Diddy abusing Cassie Ventura himself. Yes, he witnessed it. He heard glass breaking and Cassie screaming, "Isn't anybody seeing this?" as Diddy stood over her holding a whiskey glass while she lay on her back with her legs up in the air. Now, she was trying to create space and get away from Diddy. Kaplan said that Diddy was enraged, angry, and that no one on the plane, the staff, the security, no one intervened or tried to help Cassie. When asked why he didn't help, Kaplan said he was 23 at the time and said that he was worried about his career, explaining that he saw Diddy as this god among men and feared losing his dream job in entertainment or being blackballed from it. Another 2015 incident at Diddy's Miami Beach home on Star Island he saw Diddy throw green apples, I don't know if they were the real apples or decorative apples, at ex-girlfriend Gina Hun at an entryway. Now, whether they were real apples or decorative, he said these things were very hard. And that one of the things, though, he could not tell if the apples actually hit her or not, but he was definitely throwing them at her. Now, Gina tried to shield herself with her arms, but she ran away. She ran out of the house and she was trying to get away from Diddy, get away from the violence. And can you imagine the scene? He's throwing these essentially probably hard as rocks, apples at her, and she's trying to dodge them and then has to flee the house. Now, Gina tried to leave the property, but the gate was closed and she couldn't get out. So she went back in and eventually was in a bedroom with Diddy. And Kaplan was instructed to bring a medicine bag, Diddy's medicine bag, up into the room where they were, but then he was told to get out and leave quickly. Kaplan ended up telling Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Quorum, about the violence against Cassie and against Gina. He was reporting these things to a higher up, to a manager, and that she seemed sad or disappointed, but she did nothing about it. And just so you know that she worked for Diddy up until recently, meaning through all of this, through decades, Christina has been working for him. And there's even pictures of him after his homes were raided and people were expecting him to get arrested, with her sitting beside him poolside and them going through iPads and notes. Her name has been brought up by so many people already in this trial. Kaplan then said that he quit after the Gina incident and had to end up moving back home with his mother, but maintained sort of a complex view of Diddy. He called Diddy a creative leader who made my world so much bigger, teaching him business lessons that he still carries with him today that were very valuable. Yet he admitted that the violence was his breaking point. He couldn't take it anymore. He sent Diddy a condolence message in 2018 after Kim Porter's death, saying that he was heartbroken for him, showing that he really had this lingering respect despite all of the abuse he witnessed. Now, Kaplan noted on May 21st the Notorious B.I.G.'s birthday, that was a paid holiday at Combs Enterprises, which, okay, I can see that happening. But anyway, Diddy also threatened his job almost monthly. Once raging over Kaplan buying the wrong bottled water, he told him to go get him a liter of water, but he couldn't find just a liter or 2 liters of water. He couldn't find that. So he bought him 2 separate bottles of liters of water. And Diddy was outraged and demanded that he go back and get some, and go get the full liter that he wanted. It's kind of like a throwaway, but I think it kind of shows the controlling and demanding nature of Diddy. I think that harkens back, if you guys watched, and I talked about this before, you guys had to tell me in the comments the name of the place because I could not remember, even though I've eaten there in their Manhattan location several times. Remember them making the band when he had these kids who just wanted to be stars, where he had them walk miles from Manhattan to Brooklyn, across the Brooklyn Bridge, to go get cheesecake. And so they had to walk there, spending hours and hours walking. And then they end up coming back with the cheesecake. But when they got there, nobody even wanted it. They found out later that cheesecake was for Beyonce, because she was in the studio at Diddy's, I guess, Diddy's studio, or she was in the studio with Diddy at the time. But we don't know if she really wanted the cheesecake, if this was just made up, if this was an excuse for Diddy to control or make other people suffer, or see if they were willing to do anything in order to get a job with him. Kind of like a warm up, a test to see how far they would go, how much did they really want it. But again, I want to say it came out later about Beyonce wanted the cheesecake, but we don't know if that was true or not. Now we've got to talk about Kid Cudi. So Scott Mescudi, 41, took the stand mid-morning, but he arrived at the courtroom around 9:18 a.m. and he was escorted by U.S. Marshals and Homeland Security agents wearing a leather jacket over a white t-shirt. Now, this was a big deal because we hadn't seen any other witnesses coming to court with this amount of security, and specifically not private security, but security from the government itself. So I don't know if he's in some type of witness protection, or he's had to move locations during this trial. I don't know what that's all about, but it was very notable and strange, and everyone has been talking about it. The Grammy-winning rapper, known for his Day and Night song, testified under his legal name and greeted the prosecutor, Emily Johnson, who was back leading the prosecution, with a casual hi, and identified himself as an actor and a musician. His testimony, which lasted a little bit, briefly under 2 hours, it focused on his 2011 relationship with Cassie Ventura and the alleged retaliation by Diddy, including a home invasion, a firebombed Porsche, and worst of all for me, the trauma of his 2-year-old little French bulldog, Luna. Kiddy established his connection to Cassie. He initially met her in 2008 at a New York event and later actually worked together with her on some music. Now, they dated briefly in 2011 during a break in Cassie's relationship with Diddy. The defense has tried to paint that Cassie was doing all of this cheating on Diddy, and this would make him kind of rage out and beat her. Like they were trying to find excuses for the violence. Well, when he was on drugs and he got a bad batch, that's when he would be violent. Or he was trying to get her into rehab, so then he would get violent with her. Or she was cheating with some high profile celebrity and he would rage out on her. But this whole cheating defense is wild to me when you see that Diddy was doing these freak offs weekly with male escorts that were piping down Cassie in the most egregious way for hours and days at a time. I'm not going to do it again, but you guys know the mouth sores, the infections, nothing could be cured with antibiotics anymore. And the fact that he's trying to say that she was cheating on him, this couple was on and off and they had many breaks. Diddy was dating other women, sometimes publicly, while he was with Cassie, while they were supposed to be in a relationship. And Cassie has even said that they had an open relationship, not open, but I guess it was not monogamous. I mean, clearly from the freak offs. But what's weird is that Diddy didn't seem to have a problem with these random male escorts having sex with Cassie, but he felt threatened if when they were having a break or they broke up, if she went on to date another high profile celebrity. That's a big thing that I have not seen enough people talk about. Kid Cudi said that Cassie was definitely in a break with her relationship with Diddy, and that's why they dated. That's what he understood at the time, that their relationship was over. So in December of 2011, Cassie ended up calling him around 5:30 or 6 a.m., sounding stressed, scared, nervous, asking him to pick her up because Diddy had found out about them. Now, Kitty drove over to get her, taking her to the Sunset Marquis Hotel in LA for safety. So she had to be taken away from her home and put into a hotel where Diddy possibly could not find her. Now, again, when they were broken up, they were done, he still saw Cassie as his property and didn't want anyone else to have her. So while they were at this hotel, Diddy's assistant ended up calling Kid Cudi and saying that Sean Combs was in his house and that she was forced to go along. I don't know. When he heard that, he raced home in his Porsche 911 and ended up calling Diddy en route. He said Diddy was calm though when he called him, saying to him, "I'm here waiting for you," meaning waiting for you at your house. But when Kid Cudi got there, Diddy was nowhere to be found. The house showed no forced entry since Cudi had left the door unlocked for his dog sitter, okay? But there were Christmas presents that were unwrapped that he had in there. A lot of them from Chanel, he said. And there was a security camera, but it was turned aside. And then he found his dog Luna was locked in a bathroom. Kid Cudi described Luna as a 25-pound French bulldog and as my shadow always by my side, but found her whimpering and cowering in the corner, surrounded by shredded toilet paper and with her little bowl of water tipped over. Guys, he said that there were claw marks on the bathroom door and it showed how she had tried to escape. But then Kid Cudi noted that she'd been left with a dog sitter and a friend, but they had stepped out very briefly. And that allowed Diddy's team to access his house. And Luna, she was visibly shaken. And at a January 2012 vet record, they entered into evidence. It noted that she had anxiety and weight loss, guys. They were not able to ever figure out what happened to his dog because he never locked his dog away. She could be all over the house. So when she was in there, clearly traumatized, she didn't tear up stuff either. So the toilet paper was probably like a trauma response. If you know anything about abused animals, so then when the vet later on, I guess like going later on when he was examined by the vet, the dog was still having deep anxiety and shaking and scared. And that this lasted a long time. Like it completely changed the psyche of his dog. I am trying to figure out what could one interaction with somebody that comes to your house one time, what they could do to your dog that was so horrific that the dog was left permanently scarred and having trauma. Guys, I can go to a lot of places because when I want you to think about, the dog didn't have any visible scars. He didn't have any broken bones. What did the diddler do to this little dog, this little girl dog that you can think of? I don't want to go there because it's not alleged. Man. But can you imagine what he may have done to that dog to leave her without any scars?
Man, I know what y'all thinking because I'm thinking the same thing. Wow. And that's what she's putting in my mind. But at the same time, wow.
Yet or any type of, any visible injuries, but she's that traumatized from that one interaction. I'm sorry. I just have to make a note of it because it's really terrifying when I think about, especially what he would do to women and other people. He surely didn't give a damn about what he did to a dog. It's disgusting. So outside of her anxiety and weight loss, He also said that Luna became very skittish around all strangers and refused to sleep alone for weeks after this incident. Now, this is a detail that the defense kept trying to suppress, but it made its way into court. So this indicates to me that they know something pretty horrific happened to this dog, and they don't want any of those details to get out or for the public to know. In January 2012, Cudi was visiting his ex-girlfriend's sister when a friend called saying that his car was on fire. His reaction? What he said this in court? What the F? The Porsche 911 Cabriolet was parked at his Hollywood Hills driveway and was completely burnt up. And he had to end up writing it off and then guys, there was a large hole in the roof where a Molotov cocktail was inserted through the slice in the convertible top. Cudi said he saw the burnt bottle, and they showed photos to the jury of the wreckage of the car, like the blackened interior, the charred driver's seat, and on all of the smoke damaged doors. Now, the Los Angeles Fire Department had a report that confirmed that the fire was intentional and caused by an incendiary device. So on January 9th, 2012. So anyway, so the prosecution also shows a memo alleging that Diddy's co-conspirators were the ones who set the fire. And witnesses also claimed that Diddy had bragged about setting his car on fire. Although the defense are denying any kind of involvement. This had nothing to do with Diddy at all. Sure. When the prosecution asked why Cudi had linked Diddy to the fire, he said, "I knew he had something to do with it." But the judge, well, he instructed the jury to disregard this after the defense objected. And of course, they're going to object to that because he doesn't know for sure. It's just what he believes with everything going on. I believe it. I'm just going to say that. Anyway, days after the fire, Cudi ended up texting Diddy saying, "You broke into my house. You messed with my dog. I don't really want to talk to you," but agreed to end up meeting him at the Soho House in Los Angeles. Now, Diddy had texted him, "We need to talk, homie." And he claimed that this was about, that he was in the dark about Kid Cudi's relationship with Cassie. So that's why he sent that message. "I don't want to talk to you," because he said, "We need to talk about all of this." Cudi ended up going, and when he got there, Diddy was standing there and staring out the window with his hands behind his back, like some Marvel supervillain. That's what he says. Now, that drew a lot of laughs in the court, especially about all the heavy testimony about Luna. Like, can you imagine Diddy standing there trying to look all big and bad and villainous and try to scare Kid Cudi? But clearly, with even Kid Cudi testifying, he is not scared of Diddy at all. Unlike a lot of other people in the entertainment industry who Diddy either has dirt on or they're doing the same thing now. Who knows? But kudos to Kid Cudi because he does not give a damn about Diddy or what he has to say or any threats or blackmail because he doesn't have anything on the guy. So Diddy, looking like a supervillain, he was calm. And he ended up offering Kid Cudi water twice and was calling him his homie and saying Cassie was my girl. When Cudi asked about, what about my car? Diddy replied, "I don't know what you're talking about." But then Cudi testified, "I believed that he was lying." They ended up shaking hands, but Cudi ended his relationship with Cassie after that. He just was saying that it was too much drama. It was getting out of hand. And he was scared for not only his safety, he was scared about Diddy's violence towards Cassie. He was scared for his dog. He just didn't want to deal with it anymore because he knew about Cassie had told him and he had seen and witnessed marks of Cassie being hit and being kicked by Diddy. Now, in 2015, Cudi actually ran into Diddy at Soho House while he was with his daughter. And he went up to him and apologized, saying, "Man, I want to apologize for all that BS back in the day." Cudi was stunned because like, what? But he took it as a confession. And from that day, he just made peace with it. Now, on the prosecution's redirect, they confirmed that Cassie had told Cudi about all of Diddy's physical abuse. And Cudi described her as being really shooken up. And especially she was shaken up when Diddy found out about their relationship, even though Cassie and Diddy were broken up at the time. The prosecution alleges that Diddy ran a racketeering enterprise that used violence, coercion, and drugs in order to control women. And now with Cudi's and Kaplan's testimonies as key evidence, they're really driving this home. Cudi's account of the home invasion, Luna's trauma, and then the firebombing, guys, That suggests that Diddy orchestrated acts of arson and intimidation to punish a romantic rival. And then Kaplan's stories of drug purchases, hotel cleanups, and witnessing violence against Cassie and Gina, well, that paints Diddy as a man who normalized abuse and excess. The defense, who is led by Brian Steele, argues that Diddy's actions were personal, not criminal, admitting that he had drug use and that there was a physical nature to his relationships, but there was no trafficking or racketeering. This was just a man who was abusive and a drug addict. Steele got Cudi to confirm that no criminal charges were ever filed for the fire and that the unlocked door showed no forced entry. While a female DNA claim at the scene was dismissed by a judge. They're saying that they found some female DNA later on. I don't know how that came up, but as soon as he said it, there was no evidence to it. As soon as he said it, the judge shut that down, like immediately. The prosecution's evidence is overwhelming. You have, for Kid Cudi alone, there's the fire department report, photos of the Porsche's charred remains, a 2024 memo on the Molotov cocktail, and a vet record for traumatized Luna. Let's not forget the scratch marks on the door and everything else.
But no proof that Diddy did it. I mean, something happened. Okay. But where's the proof? There's proof that something happened, but where's the proof that Diddy did it? That's what the problem is.
In a 2012 text from Diddy to witnesses about him bragging about the arson and what he had done to Kid Cudi. Then you have Kaplan's immunity and detailed accounts of drugs and violence that are backed up by Special Agent Yassine Bindi's testimony, if you guys remember, about seizing $9,000, ketamine, MDMA, baby oil, and mood lighting device from Diddy's hotel room in September of 2024. Guys, when they went, he is one of the people who arrested Diddy in New York. He was supposed to be turning himself in, right? But instead, they decided to move in on him and arrest him before that would happen, right? Because they just thought he was just too dangerous to leave him out on the street another second. When they got there, as I've given details about, they found freak-off materials. They found bags and bags of large bottles of baby oil, Astroglide. They found drugs. They found cash, all in his hotel room while he was arrested. They found so many things and items which suggested that Diddy, up into the moment of his arrest, was still engaged in freak-offs. Regardless of everything else that had happened, Diddy's lawsuits, the multiple lawsuits that had come out, dozens of them by that time, the raids on his home, all the people talking, this man is so bold, he was still doing his freak-offs to the moment of arrest. Let's ask the burning questions. Is Diddy just a jealous lover or a criminal mastermind who targeted Kid Cudi, Luna, and women like Cassie and Gina in order to maintain control? Cudi's testimony, like I said, Luna's little claw marks, the torched Porsche, they suggest a calculated power play, not some spontaneous outburst. Why terrorize a dog unless you're breaking into you're trying to break someone's complete spirit? Kaplan's account of Diddy's violence on a jet and at home, they show a man who was abusive routinely. Now, the prosecution's racketeering charge, it hinges on proving that Diddy's empire was a coercive machine, not just the actions, of a man who was troubled. And then Luna's trauma and Gina's shielding her arms are stark proof of that. The defense's claim that Diddy's just a flawed person falls apart when you look at everything that has come out so far. And guys, one thing that the defense tried to do is they wanted any testimony of the dog Luna struck. They did not want that to be able to be entered into evidence, to be entered into the court for anyone to hear, for the juries to hear, because they said it would paint a bad picture to dog lovers. It would prejudice them against anybody who loved dogs or animals. You damn straight it has, because it has taken another level of someone, there's people who are debating, well, Cassie, she was a willing participant. Gina is a willing participant. Everybody's a willing participant. Everybody knew. And so they're willing to participate. They're adults, right? But are you going to say the same thing about this dog? You cannot say the same thing. I think it shows just how psychotic all of this was, and that nothing and no one was safe around Diddy. Reports are saying that the defense is floundering. Still soft cross of Cudi, it sidestepped Luna. knowing her story could sway jurors. The female DNA claim was a flop, dismissed by the judge. Kaplan's immunity made him untouchable. And the defense, well, they barely challenged this jet incident. Admitting Diddy's violence while denying racketeering is a glaring contradiction, guys. Why praise Diddy as an entrepreneur if you quit over his abuse? So guys, that's Day 9's explosive truth so far, but you know this trial is far from over. Just like if you guys think that today really made an impact, just tell me in the comments, what do you think so far about all the different testimony that we've heard over time? But then also specifically, I think Kid Cudi's testimony has had a really deep impact for a lot of people. And I think it will reach the broader, I don't want to say the hip hop community, because I feel like they've all known about it, the music industry, Hollywood. I don't think anything can touch or break through to a lot of these narcissists and psychopaths. But overall, do you think that this will have far-reaching, impact on people who maybe have not been paying attention to the trial, who don't care about the trial? Do you think, especially the testimony about the Porsche being blown up and firebombed, and then also Luna, little baby Luna, I don't even know if she's still alive or not, guys. I don't know why it just hits me. I have a little dog, so it just hits me really hard. So, but leave a comment. Let me know. I gotta go. I don't know, just take a break really quickly. But I will be back with more details of what is happening in court. There's a lot of witnesses today. I already did my transcript of the morning. Crazy. I will be following up when court ends directly. I will be posting the transcript of what happened and all my recaps and all the tea that you need. So make sure that you have hit that notification bell, because you are not going to want to miss any of those details.
Dude, there's no way in the world, man. What did you do to that little dog? Now, if you just took the dog and put him in a room and closed the door, that dog wouldn't be traumatized like that. Nah, you did something to that dog to make that dog fear any and everybody from here on out. Only Kid Cudi. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think. What'd he do to the dog? I don't know. Maybe you don't want to put that in comments. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Y'all tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Let me know if you're an ender. Peace out.